of the bank or whatever we use them. It is a regulation of the monetary supply. We get money, as I say, all money belong to the, and I forgot to bring a bar up here. All our country's money belongs to the central government, who belongs to the central bank, who belongs to the government of the country, except the US dollar. If you look at your money, it will say this note is a Malaysian central bank note or whatever. If you're looking at the dollar, it will say this is a Federal Reserve note. So it does not belong to government, it belongs to the Federal Reserve. Right? And while the Federal Reserve is controlling and doing in the involvement in many of the countries in the future. One of the countries that got very involved in was a country called Libya. It's also before your time. I think you learned about a guy called Muhammad Gaddafi. And Gaddafi was overnight, the army of America and of France and of England came in and shot Gaddafi, killed Gaddafi, because Gaddafi was this big terrorist. No, he was not. Gaddafi said, Africa, we're not going to deal anymore in money or in the US dollar. We are going to deal in gold. And less than a month later, he was shot dead. Okay, because money supply, the monetary supply, is how money is moving between countries, and it's all connected with the US dollar. Okay, other thing of the financial institution is a banking service, as we know, is how we buy and sell money. It also has an insurance services, and again, as I said previously, insurance services and only make the money, and the bank only make the money on the amount of money they can make from your money. Your money, if you put money into the bank, if I go to my bank, Kasikon, and I put in 1,000 baht into that bank, I become that bank's debt. The bank must give me back at least my 1,000 baht. How much do they want to give me back? Much less. Is that 1,000 baht their money? No, it's not. It's their debt. It's their unearned revenue. They only get money on the interest that they can get by lending this money out towards somebody else.
How many kind of the financial institute can you detail?
Sorry, repeat again. I could not understand your question.
How many kind of financial institution?
Okay, in this case, it can be a savings bank. It can be an insurance company. It can be an investment bank.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it can be, yes, so it can be completely different kinds of banks that is involved in this bank service or institution. Just for interest sake, I had a friend now that he inherited American dollar. He inherited 90 million American dollar. So he not 9019 $19 million. So he came and said, oh, okay, I'm going to put my money into the bank. I'm going to put it in Thailand. We have a bank called Krungsi. Now Krungsi is an investment bank. It's a bank that it's credit. Investment bank is also a credit bank. It's a bank that gives credit cards out. It's not a bank that you do your day-to-day business. Okay, so he invested it in that bank, and then he started. Then listen to me. So I said, don't invest there. He invested there anyway. Then he finds out that on that moment he has a 20% loss of investment. His investment is dropping more than 20%. He phoned the bank investor. The bank said, don't worry. Only started to worry if that money is less than 65% loss. So investment banks is also there for them is to make money by the use of money. Okay. Insurance capital. There are capital formation bank. Most of the bank, financial institution is a capital formation bank as well, where we can borrow money and lend money out to. Okay, it's an act of a government agent for economic growth. That is part of what do I mean here is how do we measure a country's growth? Kyra, can you remember? I think we talked about it. I can't remember. How do I measure most of the countries? How do I measure a country's growth? Financial growth.
Based on their economy.
Yes. What in the economy? GDP.
Yeah, I was thinking GBP, but that one doesn't sound right.
Yes, GDP. America works a little bit different. America uses GNP. GDP stands for gross domestic product. GNP stands for gross national product. The difference is national product do not, if my company is not, say I'm in America, and my company is in China, I will not add that to my GDP of GNP of America. But in GDP, I will add it into my country, okay, into America. So, but by looking at GDP, so the formula for GDP is the first one is consumer spending. If consumers are spending money, it means there is money flow, money exchange hands is part and parcel of the growth of the company. The second one is investment. If there is investment, so if as an agent of economic growth in this case, if there's investment within my company, within a banking, within a financial institution, it helps with the growth, economic growth of the company, of the country, right? So that is just investment, consumer spending, investment, then government spending, and net exports. Exports less your import. But so agent here's economic growth is also in this case will be your investment that is happening within a financial institution. Next job of it is, we just going to be able to close it here, okay, is financing small and medium scale enterprises. That is also financial institution. We call here the SMMEs. SMMEs, small, micro, medium enterprises, so SMEs, we can use a bank to fund and to supply us the money to open a company. That is one way. The other way that I said I will touch a little bit on next week is our crowdfunding, how crowdfunding is working. That people have a good idea, and that is also helpful small and medium enterprises. It's also an investment advice. I will give investment advice. Hopefully, we will make sure that if you go to a bank or a financial institution to give you financial advice, if you're looking at the financial guy that do your financial advice, make sure that he knows what he is talking about. Okay. Many of them don't know what they are talking about anymore. For them, it's just, let me sell you the biggest package that is there in investment, not for you to have the biggest gain, but for him to get the biggest commission. And that happens within the banking industry. Make sure that that guy takes your word for it, looking at your information more than it's looking at his own pocket. Financial institutions also looking at pension funds. As I say, pension funds is big money. What happened with Bernie Sanders and what happened in 2008, many pension funds collapsed. Many people has no money when it comes to pension funds. Pension funds that was misused. Okay, also can be, they also used for trust funds. Trust funds in the sense that, say for instance, I don't want, if I die, my money, I have a few $1 million. I don't want it to go to my wife because my wife has already another boyfriend. He want to kill me, so I don't want that money to go to them. I said, all my money go to my boy. But my boy is only 6 years old. He cannot get that money now because he's going to give it to his grandma. His grandma's going to get and play it out with a boyfriend. So I put that money into a trust fund that he can only have a certain amount coming into him monthly, but the rest of it is only when he is 25, he can inherit the money. Okay? And then the financial institution is also there as investment advice. Again, make sure that you know what kind of bank, what financial institution. Don't go to anybody in a bank to think it can give you investment advice. That's just most of it what I want to say.